Hello. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming to the Movie Podcast Live. My name is Shahbaz. I am one of the hosts of this amazing live show that we're doing today. This is our second time here at FanExpo doing a live show, and we're super, super excited. We're joined by a great guest who will be telling you in a few minutes who that is, but you probably already know. And, of course, beside me I have...
I'm Daniel, and again, like every time we have a special guest on the show, we somehow, like, their name is on... the sign beside you, but we're like, let's not say who it is.
No, that could be anybody. That could be anybody up there.
We don't know if they're here.
And of course,
it's me, Anthony. Hello. I don't know. I have like a clown costume for some reason.
that was more Mario, I think.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, this is
so
amazing.
excited.
It's a great turnout. We love doing these live shows. This is, like Shay said, this is the second time we're doing one, and so thanks for letting us to do one again. Like, this is awesome, and thanks to Sonar for inviting us back.
Absolutely. And, of course, we are joined by Canadian legend, Jay McCarrol. Come on up.
Come on up, Jay. It's like he just won an award.
Yes, the Movie Podcast Award.
Yeah.
One and
a
only.
movie potty.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're calling it, the Movie Potty. Jay?
All right.
Hello, Jay.
Thanks,
Hello, Jay.
guys, for having us. Hello. Hello to all the audience.
How are you doing today, Jay?
Great. It's great to be here at Fan Expo. I come every year. I am a nerd through and through, so I'm here amongst my people.
Are you cosplaying?
Not so big on cosplaying, but I support it.
If you were to,
Yeah.
what character would like to be?
Let's see. Oh, you know who I always have an affiliation with is Cloud from Final Fantasy
Yes.
VII.
Okay.
My first RPG hero that I, was my avatar as my first RPG. So I have a real soft spot for him.
I love that. You just have to dye your hair blonde like Anthony, and you're good.
Yeah.
And
Seeing
you're
those
set.
big Buster swords.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
We love seeing it. Yeah, this is a great crowd. I mean, we're in Toronto. We love coming to any event when we're in Toronto. This is where we're from. We love doing shows here, and we love doing it with an audience like you. So thank you all for being here again.
Any fans of Nirvana, the band, the show in here?
Oh, I'm so glad
Nice.
they've heard of it.
That's awesome. Well, we're definitely going to be talking to Jay about all of that and more. You know, Jay's got a lot of stuff that he's done, and obviously, Jay, we're super excited to have you on the show.
Yeah.
And to really dig deep into your trauma, your childhood, everything that we possibly can. We're going to go right into it.
Yeah, we're opening up all the wounds today.
Yes.
So thank you for being here.
Great. Let's get started.
Do you want to go first, Daniel?
Yeah, no, there is a movie that came out earlier this year that we absolutely loved on the Movie Podcast. And, you were involved in this movie in a couple different ways. Has anyone here seen Blackberry? Yeah, that's good. One of the best movies this year. If you have not seen it yet, you need to go watch it. Jay, you were the executive producer on the project. You were also the composer on it. So I'm just curious for you, how long have you been involved in this world? Like when Matt, came to you, did Matt come to you with this idea like, hey, I want to do a movie about Blackberry? Were you the first person he went to, like, we want to tell this story?
I've grown up with Matt. Him and I sort of found each other when we were 16, and we shared the same taste and sense of humor, and we kind of hit it off as best pals. So we've been sort of attached at the hip for all the projects that he has really quarterbacked, and luckily I just get to be a part of all of them and be a helping hand in a lot of different ways. I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife in the Zapruder world. I do music, obviously, but I end up just doing a lot of other things too, like just to help realize a project. Like for Blackberry, this was the first time on one of our Zapruder projects that I storyboarded the whole thing, and then Matt and I would record all the voices, and we did the entire movie. There's a cartoon animatic of the entire movie with just Matt and I's voice, voicing every single character, doing the whole script, and there's pictures for every single line, and that was such a huge way to kind of like put the movie up on its feet, and it really exemplifies how like we as a very small team kind of share a vision. But the whole time, I should say, is just that Matt is just year after year getting to be more and more powerful of a mind, and so it's just a great way to kind of go to film school by just being friends with him year after year.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. I'm curious though. During this animated version where you guys are doing, is that going to be released? Can we ever see that?
You're going to see clips of it on the
CBC version?
No, the featurettes on the DVD
Oh,
and Blu-ray,
okay.
because everybody still has a Blu-ray and DVD
Of
player.
course. Of course.
But we went all out with a lot of different behind-the-scenes stuff. There's a making of the score and everything that I did, but also there's a making of the animatic, and you can see the side-by-side. Funny story, we almost had cast in the movie Will Arnett as
wow.
Jim. And so we were kind of thinking at this time that we were making the animatic that it was going to be Will Arnett playing Jim. And so I was doing a Will Arnett impression of Jim Balsley throughout this whole animatic cartoon
really
version.
rough voice.
So it's a very strange cartoon version of the movie that I'm hoping maybe can just leak in its entirety at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like, I
We'll
think
make sure it leaks.
I would love to watch the whole animatic of that experience.
Yeah, just leave the
Just
USB
because
key
it's
here
so
somewhere.
like grassroots too, like like it just has this vibe of these are filmmakers who are making something from scratch with that collaborative vision,
Yeah.
and just that's those stories is what kind of like you see in the future of your career. Like you'll be talking about it 10 years from now, and people will be looking for it.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that would be nice. It was certainly a lot of fun. We didn't take it seriously or anything. Like it was a very fun way. I suggest any filmmakers out there to do the same thing. To just you don't have to draw well, but just to kind of see the movie and realize, oh, this part's ridiculous. We have to cut that completely, or this part we have to make sure we do it just like that on the day. Really fun.
Yeah, because you and Matt especially have this, like, obviously everyone here who's seen Nirvana the band, the show is just it's phenomenal. We like leading up to this, we've just been rewatching episodes because it's just such a comforting show and what you guys were able to pull off with that. And it's funny seeing Blackberry, which has so much of that DNA woven within it, where it could be like funny and zany, but also tell a very serious story as well too, right?
Yeah. We wanted very much the movie to be funny as a bonus and not, coming across like a comedy, because the moment you advertise that you're making a comedy, everyone kind of just goes, all right, well, how funny is it? And they're watching it like, is it funny enough? I came for a comedy. So we, like a lot of our projects as of late, we don't even think about the comedy at all. We just assume that that's going to happen naturally. We don't like to write jokes. It's just you work very hard on trying to make a good story that works, and then if you can be funny in telling that, then you have the best of both worlds.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, there is like an extended cut of the film coming out on November 9th that will be played on broadcast.
The miniseries.
The miniseries
Yes.
version of it. Any differences that we should be looking out for? Anything that stands out to you, like, oh, this is different in it?
Well, it's interesting that it shows a lot more of the movie story. Like, so there's more angles and scenes will go on longer. Like the same scene you saw in the movie will go on longer in the miniseries, and you'll kind of get new information. And there's some new jokes and some new music, and just sort of deepens the story of Blackberry a little bit.
Awesome. That's wicked. We can't wait to see it.
Was scoring always like a big passion of yours?
Yeah. Since like high school, or actually, since I was a kid, I loved film scores. Huge.
Yeah.
But I remember making. Remember when you made like burn CDs of like mixed stuff, right?
Yeah.
All of mine were all film score cues, and I didn't realize how rare that is. I guess a lot of people did it, but like looking back, I'm like, I guess I really did kind of like it if I was doing that as opposed to just the hit.
What was
songs.
that? What was the score that really like connected you to that medium?
Well, all the top dog stuff, like anything John Williams, kind of pretty much went the furthest down to the recesses of my brain to show me how much magic is in cinema. Like that's like seeing the ending of E.T. from the bike chase to the end is something I cannot watch to this day without welling up just in awe of cinema magic. You know what I mean? Not just the the music, but just the relationship between the music and the story. You could just buy into it wholesale, and all of a sudden you're just like, you're lit up. And then I really got into when John Bryan started to do those kind of nice bespoke scores for the early Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Those really kind of turned me on to the kind of cool, smaller orchestra stuff.
Very, very cool.
Absolutely. We would definitely want to talk about Nirvana the band, the show as well. And there's so much about that show that's so, like, you always kind of wonder, how did you guys get away with so much on that show? In the terms of, like, there's people out there, then you're like, okay, is this person in on the joke? What's going on? But the thing that I really want to talk about is the title sequences of the references in every show. How much fun did you guys have at that? And was there ever a time where you're like, oh, we can't get the rights to this, or we can't get that ability to do this?
Well, there's a lot to talk about there, but like the title sequences were always just these, ideas that are birthed in some sort of writing session where everyone just kind of knows collectively when we say we're going to do The Wire or we're going to do Daredevil, that we will stop at nothing to do it like as one-to-one as we possibly can. If you're doing a parody, you're in the clear. You could do parody stuff, so you might as well just go all out and not do a cheap version of it. And then in that process, like if it's Triz doing our VFX or one of our editors going to town on it, it's going to become its own rabbit hole of a project where they're just going to nerd out on it until it's perfect. So that's always great, having a good team to do a good title sequence. But what was the other thing you asked about?
I guess, like, how much were you guys able to get away with? Because, like, even in
well,
I'm thinking of like the Star Wars.
We
like,
don't get away with a lot
What
of
if the
things.
Simpsons one? Yeah.
Our show is riddled with semi weird gray area legalities, and we've been sued or injunctioned by the Nirvana estate so many times.
Wow. Yeah.
They really don't want us to have any merch or social media, and I don't understand it. I'm really convinced that Dave Grohl hasn't actually seen the show yet.
Sure, he'd love it.
I'm sure he. What's not to love? It has nothing to do with Nirvana.
No.
Yeah.
It's just a complete joke about their. It's just sort of like a naive joke that kind of is a great example of just how naive they are. That's the title of the show, but it has been a bit of a barrier to entry in terms of how accessible it sounds like when you say, "Have you seen Nirvana the band, the show?" and people are like,
What?
"No," and I don't want to. Just leave me alone. I don't like the name of that. But yeah, we got away with a lot of stuff because maybe it seems more dangerous than it is, or maybe we just kind of got away with it. Like where the line is drawn, that's kind of where we want y'all to be. Watching the
great.
show being like, is that real or is that real?
Yeah.
And we sometimes are doing things for real and sometimes not.
There's always this like element of Pinky in the Brain whenever I watch the show, where it's just you guys always are trying to take over the world, but really trying to get to play the
We
show.
use
at the level.
Pinky in the Brain as the example of what we're trying to do
I love it.
all the time.
I love that.
We keep it Pinky in the Brain.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Now, speaking of Nirvana the band, the show, Nirvana the band, the show, the movie. Is this what we're?
It's
we're
official.
It's official. It's happening.
It's happening.
So let's get a round of applause for that. That's amazing. How excited are you guys to be now returning to, where the show left off? But like, what are you most excited about? What can you even tell us about, like, when we expect it, or what are we looking for? What the plot's going to be like? Obviously, we want to see you guys perform a show at a certain location in Toronto, eventually.
It might happen. Who knows? You'll have to watch the movie. It's going to happen pretty quick. We're shooting it, like, we're in pre-production right now. We're shooting it very soon. Just doing some camera tests. We're taking an RV across America, and it's going to be kind of like a road trip movie.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we're going to meet a lot of people. And what else can I say without spoiling anything?
No one's gonna leak anything here. This is all private.
Is this being recorded?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
These mics aren't even plugged in.
But you're going to get it pretty quick. We're gonna churn it out quick because since Blackberry, there's a lot of things that we're able to explore doing, and Matt wants to make a lot of movies, and we do too. So we're trying to just get Nirvana the band out there so that we keep that IP alive.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And how about like something else that I love that you guys both did with Matt and Jay Break Loose? I've never seen an animated show that just so seamlessly transitions your characters. It's like, yeah, but you guys are animals now. No big deal. But like, but it's that energy's
Reskinned.
there, reskinned
Yeah.
versions of you and Matt. Like, what was that experience like? And I guess trying to tell a story in that animated form of who you guys are.
Well, that's when we first did the animatic storyboarding and realized how helpful that was for us and how much we loved doing it. And yeah, writing Nirvana the band, the show, in sort of like a children's book bedtime story fashion was a great way to kind of just like simplify the writing down to all of its little archetypal pieces that make up what makes a Nirvana the band story. And it's sort of like, rather than trying to come up with something new, we actually wanted to just really refine what it is that these guys, what their thing is, the pinky and the brain of it all. And it was really fun to just nerd out on that. And we got to work with, animators and everything, and just pretty much do a bunch of Zoom meetings during COVID and present to them some crappy sketches. And then they'd be like, how about we make it really good like this? And they'd send you a couple pictures and be like, oh yeah, let's go with option B. That looks great. It was the best job for a couple months.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really hope that we get to see you guys return to that form, because I think there's such a incredible just rhythm to your guys' comedy, and I think it just works so well in an animated form too.
Thank you. Yeah, we're hoping to do more.
Love it.
We'd like to do more of that cartoon, actually, not children's story, or maybe still in the children's story genre, but being able to drop a good F-bomb here,
Oh,
or get really edgy on some subject matter. Just like Nirvana the band is very edgy, but we're not trying for it. We just
No.
want the option to go anywhere we want to go.
Yeah, it always feels organic. Like whenever you guys do go to that R-rated area, it's like, oh, okay, that it felt earned at that moment.
Yeah. Oh my God. And we've when we shoot, we might go too far here and there, but we're always very careful trying to be as tasteful as we can with any of that stuff when we're editing it.
Absolutely.
How much of the show is on paper when you're actually writing a script? Because there's some moments that just go on. Like I always think of a moment where you're playing something on the piano and you're mimicking having a phone, and Matt's just so adamant, like, no, just your phone's right beside you. Just pick up your phone and pretend you're on the phone. Like, how much of those moments are you guys like thinking about beforehand, or is it just like in that moment?
Oh, never,
too?
nothing. It's all improvised. The only thing that we know going in is just what our motivations are and what the arc is going to be, who changes by the end. It's like I'm sure everyone's heard that. It's how they shoot Curb Your Enthusiasm. You just have an A to B thing, and when you know what your destination is, you can shoot it 5 times and have a different kind of rhythm and pace and bunch of improv leading up to it. And then when it goes to editing and you have 2 cameras, you can kind of mix sometimes different reactions. And then you are kind of gifted this really bizarre reality that never actually occurred, but it feels real. Yeah.
I love that.
What's one of your favorite references that you got to do on the show?
Probably the Indiana Jones parody. We really leaned into Indiana Jones when we broke out that map from the ROM, which was real. And we got into a lot of trouble for that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because that joke buildup of using the phone was so good. We're like, oh, okay. And then when Matt just smashes it.
So there's a funny thing about that is that I said to Matt right before we shot that, and I said, oh, I got a great joke. I'll say, just use your phone. And then you misinterpret it as using your phone to smash the glass. Then we said, okay, let's go and just practice. We had snuck in a fake exhibit into the ROM piece by piece.
Wow.
And it looked like completely inconspicuous amongst the other exhibits. And we'd done that the day before. So we went in there and we had all our cameras set up.
So people were looking at fake just props for a day?
They would walk by it and kind of look at it. Oh, yeah, an old map of Toronto. Checks out. So then we were like, let's go just do a little practice run because we only have one shot at this. So let's get our lines right. So we walked up to it and started to do a practice run. And this French guy walks up and starts talking to us, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're looking at it? You look like you want to take it." Huh? And we're kind of looking at each other, and we know I look over, and Jared is just over behind the corner. We're like, "I think we're going. I think this is the one chance we're doing this." And then, yeah, sure enough, this guy drops the line, "Why don't you just use your phone?" And then I'm like, "Yeah." I look at him, "Yeah, use your phone." And then Matt smashes this fake glass, and this French guy is like, "What are you doing?" And we run out of there. But then, I don't know if people here all know the story, this large guy grabs Matt by the neck and says, "Don't move." And we just kind of had planned for some sort of escape that we weren't sure how far we were going to push it. We weren't expecting some bystander to come and intervene.
Good Samaritan.
A good Samaritan who ended up being an ex-cop.
Oh, good.
Oh.
That's why he had that sort of
the good neck
authority
grip.
to him. But Matt got out of the neck grab, and we took off, and then the Indiana Jones music starts, and we had a lot of fun with that. And so that was my favorite episode, I think. But we got into a lot of trouble. We
That must have been like.
You have not been back there since.
Yeah, we've been back. They think we're very polite and everything, but they didn't want us to use any of the footage for the show, and we had to fight for a long time to use it, and then we used it.
It must, is that like a common occurrence? Just being run and gun, let's do it and hope for the best.
Yes.
And we're not dying today.
Yeah, we were worried. We're like, man, if this was in America, and we started running out, there's a chance somebody might shoot us, and we didn't want to take that risk, and we figured, well, that's probably at about a 1% here, so we'll
risk it.
We'll go for it.
Worth the 1%.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you met Matt and what that experience was like? Was it like we're immediate friends? Were we we're the same rhythms type thing, or was it like I don't like this person?
No, it's quite kismet in a way, because his girlfriend went to my high school, and she knew me as a sort of music guy at the high school, and she knew Matt at his high school was the film guy who was going around with the camera and everything, and he was making his first movie, his first feature movie in grade 11 or 12.
Sure, why not?
With just some digital camcorder, and she's like, "You should do the music for his film." And so that's how we met, for me to do music to his film. And then I met him for the first time at a movie theater.
Oh, okay.
So it was very, very movie themed, our friendship.
I love that. And were you guys same, I think of it you guys did a conversation with Tiff where you just had all this super nerdy stuff that we all love.
Oh yeah, it was
around,
all the same stuff.
And it's you guys were just saying this is all of our interests, same type of
movies and video games, all the same. And that was pretty much at that age all you needed to bond with somebody else. If they had those same tastes, then
we're best friends now.
Yeah.
I love that.
Plus, we kind of started our Nirvana the band dynamic right away. That's how we kind of came up with the characters, is that he loved to have me play the piano and be able to recall every theme of all the stuff that we liked. And so I would play Zelda, and then he would just get so amped up with energy and just run around the living room being Link, or it would be anything, I just play something and then he would go off. And so the characters really are real in some sense. But yeah, we've been best pals for a long time.
That's wicked. We had a chance to speak with Matt during the Blackberry movie when it was coming out, and one of the things that he mentioned was that he always wants to work on just Canadian-based movies, whether it's true stories, and he said he would never touch Hawaiian pizza. What are your thoughts on that? Would you want to do a Hawaiian pizza movie?
Hawaiian pizza the movie?
I never understood this Hawaiian pizza controversy where people are like, pineapple doesn't belong on pizza.
It's a big thing.
It feels like a very politically incorrect stance to take. What do you care what somebody enjoys, But I like pineapple on pizza. I'll just be official about that.
Oh, wow, it's out there now.
We got some applause
We're
for
heard
that.
it first.
Yeah. I like
What about
that.
Insulin or Zipper the movie? Zipper, because Zippers are Canadian.
Oh, Zipper. Yeah, the inventor of the zipper. Yeah, maybe there's something there.
There's a
I
story
would've
there.
find a
music for
real-
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you use the zipper as sort of like a rhythmic thing.
Yeah.
Guitar. Yeah.
Yeah.
First score with like just all zipper sounds.
Yeah.
You know, there's something there.
I think there is something there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
One of the other things that we brought up to Matt, and we also spoke to you about that night. And again, I'm sorry to bring it up, but it was such a part of like me growing up on the internet is the Wii Update Day song
Oh yeah.
that you guys created. Did you ever anticipate it to have like this longevity that there's Twitter accounts dedicated to you, there's Reddit accounts dedicated to just this one song every Wednesday being posted? Something you guys created like what 2008
Yeah.
or 9 like
Yeah. No, we obviously didn't. We didn't expect anything ever to happen when we made the show. Like we made the show and hosted it on just our website, like .com.
Mhm.
That was it. Like there was we didn't have it on YouTube or anything. So the fact that people were able to find it was such a word of mouth success that we could not have anticipated. And that Wii Shopping channel thing was just something we decided to do that night and finished it and finished the edit that night. It was the fastest piece of Nirvana the band content that we ever made, and probably the most, you know what I mean, like widely known. It's really fun. I like it.
It's a great song. Like it's like anytime it comes up on the feed, I will watch the whole thing. Just because it's just it's so the lyrics, like just the game titles, and obviously because we're all like big like gamers and stuff like that. And I think when we go back to that time of like every Wednesday waiting for the Wii Shop to update and see what games are going to be dropped, right? Like it just brings you back to that time. It's just so catchy.
We were really into the Wii culture. Like
Yeah.
we would
Yes.
like send emails.
Oh, the mail
On-
to
on
each
the-
other's.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
that's
the
sick.
blue light will light up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love that.
I remember just a memory came to me now, like where I had met this girl that I wanted to ask out, and Matt helped me write what my email ask out was to her, and we worked on it all night, and we were just sitting there. Oh, pass it to me, and he'd pass him the controller, and we'd sort of mouse over, like, what if you put a comma here?
How does it change the rhythm of the sentence?
Yeah.
I like that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
What games were you playing on Wii then? Like what were your mains?
We were big into Wii Sports, big into the tennis. We got big into the second sports game, the ping
Oh.
pong one.
yeah.
Oh, the
Oh,
Wii
yeah.
Sports
So
Resorts?
into ping pong.
Oh,
Resort?
yeah. Resort, right?
Yeah.
Resort, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big into that. And then all the older games too, and like replaying Zelda on there was the
Mhm.
best, and Ocarina of Time showed out. So, yeah, what did you guys play?
A lot of Wii Sports, a lot of Trauma Center, and
Trauma
Trauma
Center.
Center.
Trauma
Oh my
Center.
God.
Really good game. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was. I don't know. I was a surgeon at that point. I think.
You felt
Working-
prepared to be.
I felt like I was prepared. I don't
Yeah.
ever ask me to do a surgery, but
No.
maybe I could
Unless you have a
try.
remote in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably know a little more than the next guy then. from
More than
playing.
most doctors, I'd say.
Oh,
Well, that might be too much. No, I don't think I know. more
If there's
than
any
most doctors.
doctors in the audience, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
We're not.
I
Shabazz is
I
not
don't want to do a surgery.
doing
I
any
promise
surgeries
you.
anytime
I
soon.
a lot of
guarantee
Super
you
Mario
there are
Galaxy.
no doctors in the audience.
Sometimes they come. You never know.
The big one for me, like I remember when the Wii was announced and it was like, oh, it's going to be able to play all of, like the previous Nintendo systems, and in me being dumb and still being dumb now, but I was just like, how are they going to have a machine that could play all these different cartridges? I'm like, oh no, it's going to be downloads, you big dummy.
Yeah.
I'll be able to download them and play them, and yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, like Smash Brothers Brawl was a big one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Wii Sports, I just spent. I think I probably had like thousands of hours of my life into that. I like getting pro in all the sports, getting like the pro level in all the sports.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think when it came to baseball, there came to a level I'm like, I'm never going to be able to beat these guys. Like any pitch I threw them, they would like, out right away. So, yeah.
It's fantastic. I think you should be very proud of that.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Put it on my
your-
resumes anywhere I go.
There's still a Mario Kart 64 cartridge that is floating around one of our apartments where Matt and I, for years, were doing time trials against each other,
Mhm.
trying to just shave off like a half second on Sherbert Land or something. And like we were going so hard at the time trials and cutting all the corners and making all the jumps, making the
Drifting at the right
Koopa
time.
Troopa Beach jump every time, and yeah, obviously drift into that orange E.
Mhm.
Just when you say about how much time and being proud of, like, you know, what there's a cartridge out there that is a trophy
Yeah.
of time.
Who has the best time right now still?
Oh, it was always me. It was always me. I always just pushed through
Okay.
a little further.
Next time we talk with Matt, we have to ask him too, just to.
Just see the-
He'll
the
lie.
stories
He
like that.
will lie.
He will lie, eh?
He'll lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've
I'm
seen
glad
your
we have
Goldeneye
it on the
speed
record
run,
that he's
so
gonna
we
lie.
know.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on GoldenEye. I was the champion of GoldenEye as well. I think it's because I was such a video game champion among our pals in those days, so hard that it hurts them to admit it and look back and say Jay was always winning. But that's just reality. That's just how it went down.
That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
that's
I love
me
that.
in the group.
That-
I'm always winning.
That's true.
You
Always
wouldn't
winning at the
expect
bottom.
Or
it.
I don't know. They let me win. I'm not too sure.
Now we are talking about I'm talking about just like Mario Kart time trials here.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot more tied
Yeah.
to it.
We usually unplug his controller. And we're like, you're doing so good, Anthony.
You're so good, man.
This is offline. It's okay. I'm still good.
yeah.
When you're looking at like obviously Nirvana band the show and looking at the different locations, ANC Games is one of the spots that you guys hit up at when you were doing like the stream like
Yeah.
for the game
GoldenEye.
for
GoldenEye
GoldenEye
stream,
event.
yeah.
Was that like a spot for you guys that you would always go to, or like how did you go
yeah.
about like choosing your spots, or even like the Rivoli? Like why was it the Rivoli that like was that beacon for you guys?
It was such a mirror of our lives. Like everything in that show was just our lives. Like if it came up where we're writing an episode and then we say, oh, we could do a speed run. Oh, and we'll go to ANC Games. And it's just an immediate like, yes, because we go there every time we walk by and we lived right near it. So all those locations in all of the show were places that we frequented just in our lives. And so that was almost a way of writing. We knew we were on the right track if we were doing something that was just personal. And then we can just sort of be ourselves, and all those weird sort of inside joke things that would just happen naturally would end up kind of giving the scenes this kind of authenticity where it felt real because it was real.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that means also all the props that you have in the show, they're all pretty much your stuff.
Yeah. Back in the day when we were doing our web show, we had the National Post come over to do a cover story for us. And they were like, hey, check out this. They were like, let's really shine a light on this cool web series that these guys are doing about Toronto. And the writer came in with a photographer, and our apartment at the time in our old house was just completely full of junk. And we had a table just full of, wrappers and McDonald's cups and controllers and just junk. And because we were like 21 or something, and the photographer comes in and he's looking around this place, he's got his tripod and he's just like and we're like, oh, do you want us to like clear the table or something? And he goes, no, this is good. And so the cover story, like I have it framed up somewhere, and it's just us sitting on the couch, just completely vignetted with like complete junk. It's just us in a total sty, and we didn't even realize that it was like an angle that the photographer saw.
That's amazing. What keeps you guys working together after all these years? Like, do you guys fight? Like, how do you get over that? Like, are you just like we're beyond fighting, or are you just?
No, we fight all the time, but surprisingly not much about like creative work or creative decisions. Like something that our whole team is really good at is being very real with each other about what we think works creatively. Like, and people can come in hot with an idea, and you can come in before you've even heard how people are reacting. You can tell like when somebody's got the idea and like I was thinking about it and it works because of this and this and this. And when somebody pitches you an idea like that, and you're like, the more you're talking, the more you're going to make it hard for me to say, I don't like this idea,
Right.
because you're so invested in it. And luckily, nobody has an ego that wants their idea to succeed, even if it's kind of logically broken down or some holes are poked in it. Like, we all have this great ability to sort of just like keep refining things and being like, well, what else is wrong with it? Oh, I found something else wrong with the idea, and that's success. That's a win. If you can find something wrong with an idea, a way to make it better, then you look like a hero in that moment. Where I've been in a lot of other creative situations where people just are like, let's just make sure we're all getting a kick at the can at this, and let's make sure let's just finish it. Or I really like working with these guys for that reason.
I love that.
I just want to circle back to Blackberry really quickly. And what was your inspiration behind the score for that movie? And is there something that you really want people to listen out for? Like, okay, that's the Easter egg I put in there, the sound I put in that I really want people to hear.
Yeah, the first thing that I thought of when we're making a movie about Blackberry was just the modem sound. I grew up listening to this dial-up modem sound, that 3-note. Like, everyone knows that, and I'd never heard that sort of synthesized into a like melodic idea before. So I took that 3-note motif and just sort of made sure that was the kind of nucleus of harmonically what the score was doing, which the score couldn't often have the room to do too much in a movie like this. It was a very bombastic and like intense movie that was just very relentless. And so the score also needed to kind of, support that, but it ended up being just a lot of just like driving undercurrents of pulses and things. And it was nice to have, beyond that, a melodic piece that sort of felt right in a kind of strange way. So yeah, there's a lot of that. And the soundtrack, a lot of people are asking me when the soundtrack is going to be released, and I can't say exactly when, but it is going to be released officially.
Amazing.
Which is fun. So I'm putting that together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we go to the audience?
Yeah,
for
let's see.
some
If you guys have any
questions?
questions for Jay or for
Yes.
us, let us know. We'd love
Yes.
to.
Sir, right there with the... Superhero fatigue.
Yeah. Do you
Sorry, I couldn't
is
hear
superhero
all of
fatigue
that.
a real
Oh.
Do you think superhero fatigue is a real thing that's going on in the industry right now?
Oh, it certainly is. It is like everyone has very much been seeing how the superheroes have been handled, and it's, I don't know. To me, it's very samey, and I feel like it's been done. But there's still a lot of superheroes out there, and you could always remount a superhero in a fresh way that we have, I think. I mean, when you think about when Tim Burton was handed Batman, the leap that they took with Batman that had never been done like that, and that was just like the most awesome Batman experience ever.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Yeah.
And to have Keaton as well too. Like what a choice then as well, right?
It was a big risk for them. Like you can see in the behind the scenes stuff, like that they really kind of took a chance on Tim Burton, and they had a real intended goal for switching things up there. So hopefully, we just see some fresh takes on the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the Truman Show.
It's a tough one.
It's a
Loaded
big one.
question.
Yeah.
Yes. I am a part of a collective, I would say. I'm not a director myself, but I do writing and producing and helping out a director to make a movie happen. Now, Truman Show number 2. What would that mean? He's out in the real world, and now.
Wow.
I think it's a great idea. I think the more workshopping and socializing and networking you do with an idea like that. I mean, one of the biggest things about making a movie is having a one-sentence pitch that is like gets everyone's eyebrows raised, and you got half the battle right there. But the rest, a lot of work, a lot of luck. Just keep handshaking, meeting important people with power and try to get those good ideas heard.
Definitely.
Best of luck.
That's awesome.
That'd be awesome. We love Toronto.
I would like that too.
Yeah. Truman Show Toronto. Right here, yes.
Hi, Jay. Massive fan.
Hey.
I wanted to know, when you find you're lacking motivation in your creation process, how do you jump over that hurdle?
Oh boy. You want to get dark?
Yes.
Dark room. I want to recommend that Rick Rubin book on creativity. And you should get it on tape too, because he reads it and he's got a really great meditative voice. But my God, do you ever need to have faith? I'm not typically a faithful person, like per se, but having trusting in the process and trusting in the magic of creativity and believing that something that doesn't exist will become into existence if you trust the process and you grind in all ways. When something is finally completed, you'll look back and all those dark moments are kind of this, it all creates the sum of all parts. Like, you went through that all to get to where you are. And so the more and more that I finally end up, bloody and bashed, crossing over the finish line, I try to look back and go, let me try to enjoy that a little more next time, because that's part of it. Like the darkness of not, because you're literally in the dark. The thing doesn't exist yet. And sometimes you can feel like you're not finishing what you're trying to finish because you feel like you're so far. But I've had many times where either it's writing or music or comedy, it's not right, it's miles away, and then, oh, what if I just do it? Oh, it's done, it's perfect. Mm-hmm. You never know how close you are. So just really trying to keep your head up, and in those dark moments, know that you are in a process that is work. So
that means a lot. Luck. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Rest your con.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions?
Right over here.
The human mic stand, just
Hi. Hi. So I don't have a movie question, but I just want to know, what is your favorite restaurant in Toronto?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let's go Little India. Just to keep on track with getting a lot of writing done. That's where, when I first moved to Toronto with Matt, we conspired to create the show together at that restaurant over and over again.
Oh, awesome!
It's really good. And if there are any butter chicken connoisseurs out there, that's the place.
That's the place. Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, just right over here.
Oh, right here.
Thank you. Hi. Huge fan
Hello.
of Nirvana band show and everything. I just wanted to ask about. Whenever I'm watching Nirvana band the show, I keep thinking to myself, there must be like so much stuff that got cut. And I was wondering if there's anything that comes to mind that you specifically remember that you thought was not a good idea and then get in, or anything that was really good that you thought should have made the cut and didn't. Is there anything that comes to mind? I'm just curious.
There's a lot of stuff that has been cut. And it's always very difficult to cut things that maybe are on its own like a really great piece of content, because it's so good and nobody can argue that. But if it doesn't fit the story, you kind of have to get the greater good and just sort of cut it loose. We have a lot of stuff from our kind of half-finished season 3 that I'm still hoping we can salvage. It keeps getting pushed down the line a little more. One thing that I did, which, man, I wish I could share this. We had a storyline that kind of parodied The Office, where Jay has a job at a jingle writing place, and they're kind of broken up, him and Matt's auditioning new replacements for Jay. He's trying to find a new piano player. And so we have some, weird guests and everything, but the final guest that actually gets the job, right in time for me to at my storyline, want to get back together with Matt and be the piano player again. And I have to come back and win the spot back over a piano duel with Ben Folds.
Oh my god.
And we shot this, and it went as good as you could think. It's awesome. And Ben Folds was like one of my piano idols growing up. And so he graciously came over and we jammed, and it was great.
Wow.
But we don't have that footage to share.
I would
Hopefully
love
one
to
day.
see it.
Hopefully one day. My
I would
God.
love to see it one day. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
So
Thank
we
you.
do get some like finality to what happens at the end of season 2. Then, hopefully, we're getting when
A little, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the movie is also going to be canonically attached. Exactly how, we're still kind of working that out, but it's all under the umbrella of a reality that is consistent. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, as well, for coming. We had a great time. I hope you all did as well.
Thank you,
to
guys.
Jay.
Thank you for Sonar for having us as well too. Jay has an awesome show on the Sonar Network as well too, so please go check that out.
Yeah,
as well,
Dwarven
too.
Moss. It's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. So,
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And of course, you
real
can-
nerds want to get going on that.
And of course, you can find us at the Movie Podcast, pretty much every social media platform that's out there. Thank you guys again so much for coming, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right, huge round of applause, everyone, for the Movie Podcast. Thank you, Jay, for joining us, and definitely check out Dwarven Moss. They were here last year in the podcast room, and it was a sight to behold. Stick around. We've got a lot more great podcasts. Next podcast is going to be talking comic books, indie comic books. All you creators want to learn about indie comic books, stick around. We're just getting things started here in the podcast room.
Fantastic.
Until then, enjoy your time here on the show floor at FAN EXPO Canada.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.